Welcome to the Growing Father podcast. My name is Felipe Freitas, and it has been a while, but we are back, putting episodes out often this year and having some pretty cool, exciting conversations with guests, going over health and fitness, parenting, technology, and how to navigate that to improve our lives. So I'm excited. We have been, we had a great 2025 as far as business and family and getting the podcast started. So we're excited for what 2026 has to put out for us and what we're going to pursue. On today's episode, I'm going to share with you 5 Stoic principles that have really affected my life and how I have applied them to improve and grow and get a little bit more success in my life and my relationships. So first of all, a quick background. I wasn't always familiar with Stoicism. I came across the ideas about 5-6 years ago and started learning how Stoicism is a philosophy of life that teaches how to live with clarity, resilience, and virtue, and how to face adversity in a way that you can be proud of and that you can be better for it. I came across after I, kind of left Christianity, for lack of better words, and I was looking for different ways to live life and different set of guidelines per se. And I studied lots of different things, and Stoicism seems to be the best match, especially for its theist type of perspective, even though it's mentioned sometimes and how God created the rules basically, but it can be applied. The principles in Stoicism can be applied by everybody, and everybody can live a better life based on it. And you see those principles in all sorts of different religions. I'm very familiar with the Bible, for example, and I can tell you that a lot of the Stoic principles line up with some of the principles from it. And so it has been tremendous for me. And let's go. Let's go with number 1. Principle number 1 is remember you will die. Memento mori. Remember you will die. This is not going to go on forever. Sometimes we get too caught up on today's pressures and what we're going to do and where we're going to go on vacation and my job. Remembering that you will die has done a few things for me. 1, it has minimized in my mind some of the risk that I can take, which has allowed me to take some risks that I've always wanted to take. Because, hey, I could die tomorrow, right? Let's make some shit happen here. Let's try something. Let's not just let life pass you by to get to the other side and be like, I wish I had tried this. I wish I had done this. I wish I had invested in the right things. So remember you will die, and not just you, the people around you, the people that you love and the people that you hate will all die, right? So act accordingly. Act accordingly. Don't just wait to tell the people that you love them tomorrow or to exercise kindness. Also, don't let your anger for somebody that tried to hurt you last forever. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. Move on. Focus on the things that are important. Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We have plenty of time, but we continue to waste. Now we have this, thing here that sucks our time and steals our attention. And we really need to get better at taking control of that, right? And so if you could leave life right now, we need to use that to determine everything that we do and say and think. Principle number 2, control the controllables. You got to put your focus and your energy into things that you can actually affect positive outcome into. If otherwise, you just spin your wheels, worried and anxious about things that you cannot affect. Now, I do get it, and I apologize if in the back over here, Mr. Nimbus is going at it with some peanut butter over there. But back to the point, whatever you can control is whatever you should be focusing on, right? I get it that there's a lot of in politics and big picture stuff that if we don't do anything, there is not any change. But we live in a time right now that everything is so in our face all the time, and our house is a mess, but we're concerned about what President so and so is doing, but we don't even have our lives together, and we're worried about what the United Nations is doing. I don't know. So we need to focus on how can we get our life better. Yes, the U.S. is in tremendous debt. So are most people, right? It's a reflection of our habits, right, per se. So I just want to encourage you guys, and this has been a reminder for me on a regular basis, because sometimes I get caught up on things that are outside of my control. I cannot control if my AC at the gym, is good or if it breaks, which, holy God, that thing gives me more problems than, and if you go to our gym, you know that that's a constant battle, right? I cannot control that. I can do things like do proper maintenance and do the proper steps, but at some point, like, hey, sometimes shit happens and we have to deal with it. So you have the power. You have power over your mind, not of outside events. When you realize this, that's when you find strength. That's what Marcus Aurelius said. Another quote for him. And you got to remember these quotes from, especially from Marcus Aurelius, those are quotes that he wasn't writing for you or me. These are quotes that he is writing to remind himself of the reality. So this next one, he says, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. I'm sure most of you have heard the quote of, that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And that seems to be so true in my life at times that I'm concerned and I'm anxious and I'm running like a chicken with my head cut off. And most of the times there's a few things that I can control that I could be focusing all my energy into, but I spend all my time spinning my wheels about shit that I have no control over. So control the controllables, focus whenever you're anxious, whenever you are overwhelmed, ask yourself, how can I affect positive change in the situation? And then focus your energy on that. Principle number 3, and this one is one of the most difficult ones I find for myself, is the idea of love your destiny. Embrace the things that happen to you as tools and ways for you to grow and to improve other people's lives as well. Love your destiny. Amor fati. Okay. It's the idea that you can embrace good things and bad things that happen to you as a way to grow. Somebody annoying comes towards you. What a great way for you to exercise your patience. Something bad happens in your business. What a great way for you to exercise perseverance. Perseverance. I don't know why I said that so weird. The quote from Marcus Aurelius says, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Okay? So, for example, if your kid is getting ready to go to school and he's slow, that's not just a thing that is happening that's going to make him slow for school. That's also your opportunity to teach, to 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 share some thoughts and some principles with your child and the importance of being on time. So it's not just, oh my God, my kid's making me late. It is also the opportunity for you to put in place what needs to be done. So using these things as opportunity will make your life so much better, will make you use the things that happen in your life to your advantage and to other people. Now, I'm not a big fan of the idea of, oh my God, everything happens for a reason. Because sometimes the reason why things happen is because we're stupid and we make poor decisions. Okay? I can't go and cheat on my wife and then my marriage falls apart. And I'm like, well, everything happens for a reason. Yeah, it happens because you're a dumbass sometimes, right? So there's a large portion of things that even on those things we can learn and take lessons from. But even on the things that have nothing, that are completely out of your control, we can still embrace the idea that those things can happen for that we can use those things, not necessarily that they happen for our advancement, but we can approach them as the opportunity to advance. One quote from Marcus Aurelius says, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." So if you're the kind of person, and we all know the kind of people that are like this, that every adversity is an opportunity for them, and we all get a little bit jealous. At least I do sometimes, because some people seem to be so naturally good at it, but we forget to see that we don't know the pain and the discipline that this person has exercised to get there. So, there are things that happen, good and bad, and those are opportunities for us to increase and grow in our kindness, in our patience, in our perseverance. And that can sound, and you can make it into your life like a cliche or blah, 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 or things that you say, but you don't mean it. Or you can use it as a tool to improve your life. And when everybody else is losing their mind and quitting and making their life worse, that you can move forward and you make your life better. And then all those other people can look at you and wonder, oh my God, but you got so lucky. No, is that whenever things went bad and a lot of people made bad decisions, you stayed the course and you make good decisions about it. You use those things as an opportunity to grow, right? Success, I hear this from people that have been a lot more successful than I am and that inspire me, but that success is paved on a trail of failures. So sometimes we think that the failure it sucks, right? We don't want that to happen. We work hard for that not to happen. But sometimes it's not that it's inevitable, but where we are set for failure at times. Maybe it's because of our knowledge, maybe it's because of our level of discipline, whatever it is. But we can embrace some of the things that suck in our life to help us grow so that we can make the most of other opportunities, so that we can be the kind of people that those good opportunities happen and that we can capitalize on. Principle number 4, harsh with yourself, gracious with others, strict with yourself, tolerant with others. This principle is incredibly important, especially at a time that most of us have this backwards. We want all the grace to be given to ourselves, but then we want to be incredibly strict, and intolerant with other people, right? When you make a mistake, you have all the reasons for it, right? We do that with our spouses quite often. When you are late is because you have a reason, and it's because, you're trying to do this and do that. But when your spouse is late, it's because they don't care. We do that with people all the time, and it's a virus that we need to kill. Be harsh with yourself and gracious with others. Try to be more understanding of others. With yourself, you can require discipline. You can impose discipline, right? That's where the word self-discipline comes from. It's because you doing it to yourself. You can do that, but you're not free unless you're master of yourself. But what we try to do most of the times is be master of other people. If you're an employer, for example, it's very easy to be very harsh with your employees, but you are not doing the things that are supposed to be done as well. You're not following through on your word. You're not getting there on time, but you expect everybody to do those things. In your marriage, the same thing. With your kids, the same thing. Harsh with yourself. You are first. You are first. Parents, as most of you guys know, we run a gym. And if I told you the amount of times that I have a parent that, is overweight or obviously needs to do something about their health, and they come in and they say, well, I was hoping to do this with my kid, so I want to talk to my kid. I want to get my kid involved, and I want to convince my kid to do this with me. It's bullshit. You are putting the responsibility of both of your success on your kid. If you believe, and by the way, do you know that one of the biggest indicators if your kid's going to be obese is if you are obese? If your kid's going to exercise is if you exercise? What your kid eats is what you bought for yourself and for your family. So you have to start first. If you are overweight and you're trying to tell your kid that he should not be overweight, you need to pave the way. You need to be the example. Before you try to be harsh and strict with him, you got to be harsh and strict with yourself. So do not be deceived. Every time that we turn that backwards, we create problems not just for us. We become very bitter very quickly. And I've been there. I've wanted my kids to do things with me. I've wanted my spouse to do things with me. I've used my wife not, joining me on a challenge or exercise routine or whatever for the reason why I didn't stick to it. And it sucks. Instead of you taking responsibility, you going and doing the thing that you're saying that you need to do. So, harsh with yourself, gracious with others. I try to remind myself of this often. When I start just thinking that everything that's wrong with my life, it's because of other people. It isn't. It isn't. Okay? I'm not overweight because people keep bringing donuts to the office. I'm overweight because I eat the goddamn donuts. Okay? I don't, I don't skip exercising because, my wife didn't want to go to the gym today. I skipped because I didn't want to go to the gym today. Take responsibility, be harsher with yourself and more gracious with others. And that's going to improve your relationships as well, because instead of constantly putting the burden of your failure on other people, you're going to realize that there's only one person responsible for where your life is going, and that person is you. And then when you do that, you can use the fruit of your discipline to encourage others. Then other people can look at you and say, oh my God, I can do that also. What a great life this person has. What a great outcome this person has. But if you are always asking people to stop being negative, but you're negative yourself, you are a fool. Okay. If you're one of the, oh, I can't complain, and then go on to complain for 30 minutes, you need to exercise some of your own standards. You need to put some of your own standards to practice. All right. Let's go. let's let's move forward. I get very passionate about that number 4 because it's something that I struggle with and I see other people struggling with very often. But the more I practice that, the better my life gets. And finally, number 5, situations don't determine our reactions. We do. Quote from Marcus Aurelius is, you shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all. I even have it tattooed on my arm, is the Invictus poem. That's, he's going over all these adversities and all how basically, shit has been going wrong in his life. But the last 2 lines of the poem are, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. If you are not the captain of your soul, everything that happens steers you in one direction or another. Okay. And it can seem obvious to us at times when other people do it. This happened and this person made me so angry. This happened and I had to do this. This person made me lose my shit. Nobody makes you do anything. Nobody makes you, you know, get out of your mind. Your mind is your domain. If you get home, it's not your wife's fault that, and of course, there are things that other people can do to try to upset you, or that would be, you know, less than ideal. But your response is your kingdom. Your response is your domain. You are the captain of your soul, even if you abdicate that responsibility and pass it on to everybody else. Somebody cuts you in traffic and you decide that they are the captain of your soul, you made that decision. You choose. You choose how you respond to things. And I know that that's incredibly in line with controlling the controllables, but I think that I try to think of this a little bit more isolated, that the way that I feel is an extension of my perspective, not what other people do. Okay? At the gym, we talk to dozens of people every day, and it's incredible. We can have people that are kind, people that are awesome, polite, helpful, insightful, and then sometimes there's one person that crosses you, one person that is rude, or one person that, that was an asshole. And sometimes it's so hard to not frame the whole day by your interaction with that person. But that's where we make the mistake of thinking that this is some uncontrollable thing, that our emotions are just these turbulent waters that, it depends on the weather, when it isn't. When it is absolutely not. You are in charge. It doesn't mean that you're going to go from being uncontrollable to being perfect in a day. But the moment you realize this truth, that you are in charge, you can take small steps to grow. You can continue moving forward, making better decisions, uh, controlling yourself, having some self mastery, so that you absolutely know that those external circumstances that happen that are causing you to feel one way or another, that you are the one that is giving power to them. You're the one that's handing the keys to the car and saying, hey, please drive and go wherever you go. is, as we say, as we see people that they decide that they're going to have a bad day. It can be 6 o'clock in the morning and their clothes were still wet in the dryer, and from then they decide that they're going to have a bad day. Stupid. If we do this kind of stuff to ourselves all the time, somebody's rude to us, we decide this is going to be a bad day. Two things happen in a row. Oh my God, this is going to be an awful day, and there's no way for me to get out of this. You are in charge. Turn that into a good day. Control your thoughts, control your emotions, take charge. I heard this one time, and it has been illuminating to me, but somebody said that emotions are like a child in a car. You don't want them taking the wheel, but you also don't need to stuff them in the trunk also either. So you can be aware of your emotions. Emotions are a good thing. They're a good thing that makes us all human. But the moment that we give our emotions the power to dictate how we treat others, the decisions that we make, how our day is going to go, our perspective in life, then we gave the steering wheel to a child that's going to run us into a pole. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Take control. Grow. You see a toddler throwing a fit in the middle of the grocery store. No regulation, right? But a lot of times we are 40, 50, 60, 20, 30, whatever. My point is, too old to not know better. But a lot of times we act like we don't know better. But we do. Situations should not determine our reactions. We should. We are in charge. We need to be adults. We are responsible for the outcomes of our life. Something bad happens. What is your next move? So there you go. 5 Stoic principles that have helped me, and I hope it helps you as well. Please share this podcast with somebody that you think that could use the boost in the confidence and some guidance. Perhaps somebody that's been struggling with decisions in life, or some, young person, men or women that want to do better, but it's a little bit lost. So share this on YouTube and Instagram and as a podcast. And we are looking forward to having some incredible guests on the next few episodes. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.